Hello and welcome. We bring you the latest edition of MBC News. You're with me, Patso Tebulo, alongside Lenle Mponda, our sign language interpreter. The headlines. Malawi calls for strengthened SADC regional collaboration to build networks that push for women's participation in political leadership across the borders. Government secures 99 billion kwacha to improve water service delivery in Mzuzu City. And an Indian firm, JBR Technologies Limited, expresses interest to establish a biomass power plant at Mtaya Dam site in Area 38 in Lilongwe City to generate electricity from waste. Now, the news in detail. Malawi has called for strengthened SADC regional collaboration to build networks that push for women's participation in political leadership across the borders. The Minister of Energy, Jean Matanga, said this in Lilongwe on behalf of the Minister of Gender during a learning visit of parliamentary women caucuses from Zambia, Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Matanga said women continue to face challenges in politics and such a learning engagement is critical to share ideas and find solutions to challenges facing women in the SADC region. Beatrice Mwabe reports.
Speaking during the ceremony, Matanga said although women were the majority of registered voters during the 2025 general election in Malawi, very few made it to parliament. She says this indicates that although women are the majority participants in electoral processes, they remain a minority at ballot. The minister says there is need for sustainable action and strong collaboration among civil society organizations and other stakeholders to strengthen women's participation in politics and amplify their voices through advocacy and civic education. On her part, Chairperson for Women Parliamentary Caucus, Mary Kembo, says women are still facing challenges hindering their participation in politics, and the engagement provides them an opportunity to share experiences and exchange ideas. She says this will ensure women's political leadership goes beyond numbers but influence accountability and bring meaningful impact in their constituencies.
Women out there, they are called all sorts of names. They are harassed, they are intimidated. That hinders the potential women who wants to join politics. They say if we join politics, we'll be like harassed and victimized. So we want to encourage other women to be strong.
Gender Justice Coordinator at Oxfam, Lindwe Jere, says the cultural barriers women experience in Southern Africa are the same. Jere says Oxfam will ensure women leadership advance on the continent in order to build a gender transformative and inclusive democracy.
We also know that there are cultural barriers that are hindering this progress of women leadership. That is why we thought it was important that they sit down as one caucus, part of Southern Africa, that maybe there are challenges that are common to among all the countries, that they can sit down and then be able to electrify.
On her part, AU Youth Ambassador for Peace, who also represented Zambian Parliamentary Women Caucus, Ruth Ndlovu, says the meeting has come at the right time as Zambia prepares for election. Ndlovu says Zambia has reformed its laws to promote women in political leadership and hopes to share the development with the women caucuses.
Another strategy that we ensured is to ensure that there's traditional leadership being present to promote the participation of women. I think we must understand the cultural context that we live in Africa in general, that they do play a key role to help shaping the mindsets of our society and our members to ensure that when women are also at the forefront, it is not a competition between women and men, but we must complement one another's efforts.
The Women Parliamentary Caucus of Malawi has organized the learning visit in collaboration with Oxfam and other partners. The two-day meeting has been held under the theme Learning from Malawi's Election Reflections and Strengthening Women's Political Leadership in Zambia, Zimbabwe and Mozambique. Beatrice Mwabe, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Youth Alfred Kangata has stressed the need for greater youth involvement in the country's socio-economic development. He made the remarks in Lilongwe during a ceremony marking the phase-out of the Innovation in Health, Rights and Development project, where stakeholders engaged the ministry on ways to sustain the gains achieved. Paul Mloga has filed this report.
Gangara said the Malawi 2063 agenda depends on the younger generation, noting that they possess the energy required to drive national progress. He expressed satisfaction with the I-Head project, saying it has exposed the true potential of the younger generation and women in the country as it gave them access to relevant information on reproductive health and rights. Gangata further expressed government's commitment to continue the initiative and called for a thorough review of the reports. Jameson Dalama is Principal Secretary in the ministry.
Government, we are going to want to make sure that the program continues by continuing financing some of the components in the project. It might not be everything, but we'll choose which ones have more impact. Secondly, to make sure that we lobby with partners also to join us to continue supporting the program. I-Head
Communications Lead Tokozani Ngombe Mwenekonde commended the project, saying it has reached over 3 million people across the country. She said the initiative has impacted youths and women in the districts of Dowa, Nchisi and Lilongwe.
The I-Head project was basically addressing barriers to access to information and services on sexual and reproductive health rights for adolescent girls and young women. We worked with both boys and girls, young men and young women, for a reason. The rights aspect touches on issues of gender equality. So there's a lot that we have achieved on the project in regards to provision of information, provision of services on sexual and reproductive health rights.
The I-Head project focused on improving sexual and reproductive health and rights, SRHR, for adolescent girls and young women, AGYW. It was funded by Global Affairs Canada and implemented by CORD in partnership with Farm Radio International. Paul Mlowoka, MBC News, Lilongwe.
And the youth have been advised to take a lead in the country's economic prosperity through businesses and innovation. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Bright Molande, said challenges being faced should be an opportunity for the youth to contribute to the economic prosperity of their country. He made the remarks in Lilongwe during a Malawi Youth Enterprise and Livelihoods Forum, where youth showcased value addition initiatives after getting skills and financial support from a project called Business Acceleration for Youth. Isaac Jali reports.
In Malawi, many young people are turning to entrepreneurship as a pathway to secure and dignified livelihoods. And one such initiative that has empowered the youth since 2022 is the Business Acceleration for Youth project. The project has provided business skills and financial support to small and medium enterprises and startups. To date, over 500 youth-owned enterprises have been established and are thriving, while more than 1,700 jobs have been created. The beneficiaries are involved in various manufacturing sectors. Speaking during the Malawi Youth Enterprise and Livelihoods Forum in Lilongwe, Principal Secretary for Industrialization Bright Molande commended the project for helping to reduce unemployment and promote economic self-reliance for the youth.
Youth SMEs are making an impact in value addition as well as job creation. A very good example is this project has created a lot of jobs, and we have witnessed products that are even possible for export. What it means is that there are some youth in this country that are so creative and innovative to the point that they are making products that can be exported out of Malawi for us to generate the much needed forex.
The project has invested over $5 million, approximately 8.7 billion Malawi kwacha, and Chief of Party for the Business Acceleration for Youth project, David Slane, called for removal of barriers that prevent many young people from participating in business, such as business and tax registration requirements. He said there's need for decentralization of such services to district councils.
We would always recommend that when designing programs that they are designed to be business inclusive. This means that we shouldn't put up too many barriers to businesses participating in projects. There are lots of good business people in Malawi who have excellent ideas but are being excluded from opportunities presented by projects because of rigorous barriers. Projects should always look at how to include businesses by supporting them in ways that allow them to overcome entrance barriers, such as business registration, tax registrations, audited accounts.
The project has been implemented by the Alliance Biodiversity and the International Center for Tropical Agriculture (CIAT), whose managing director for Africa is Wanjiru Kamau Rutenberg, and says the initiative is an example of how African countries can turn their youth population into a demographic dividend that contributes to economic development rather than becoming a liability.
I think this is one of the most innovative projects that I've seen in a long time. I think the focus on young people in business, using their businesses to create new jobs and to drive wealth, the size of our youth population can either catapult Africa into prosperity or really be what holds us back. And the difference between that is whether we are able to leverage the energy and the talent and the innovation of our young people, and entrepreneurship and job creation is exactly how we get to do that.
The project has been implemented in Chiradzulu, Zomba, Mulanje, Machinga, Mangochi, Baraka and Nsanje districts, among others. Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
Now, government has secured close to 99 billion kwacha to improve water service delivery in Mzuzu City as part of efforts to address persistent water supply challenges. Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Rosa Fach-Mbilizi, said the funding will support upgrading of the pipeline, water treatment plant and raising of the Lunyangwa Dam in Mzuzu. Hassan Piri reports.
Constructed in 1993, Lunyangwa Dam remains the main source of water for Mzuzu City. However, with a holding capacity of 4.2 million cubic meters, officials say the dam can no longer meet the growing demand for potable water in the city and surrounding areas. During an inspection of the dam and treatment plant, Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, Rosa Fach-Mbilizi, emphasized the need to urgently upgrade the facility to match expanding population growth in Mzuzu. She then disclosed that government has secured funding, including support from the European Investment Bank, aimed at raising the capacity of the dam to reduce erratic water supply currently experienced by residents of Mzuzu.
The work that is going on here is very impressive. As you saw, the dam is very well cared for. What is missing is the fact that the dam is now at low levels, and we need to raise the dam up so that the water doesn't spill over. So that project will be implemented very soon. We've identified the funds, and we should have the dam raised by June. So that will improve the facility in terms of provision of water to residents in Mzuzu.
Meanwhile, Northern Region Water Board has welcomed the development, pledging to accelerate efforts to improve service delivery. Director of Operations, Asumani Ungwe, said the institution is committed to effectively implement the project.
Now, as Northern Region Water Board, we are geared to provide services, water supply services to all the people who live in the water areas where we operate. So that one will do as demanded by the Honorable Minister.
In addition, the minister has also directed that the Lunyangwa Dam site, located within Kaningina Forest Reserve, be rehabilitated and transformed into a recreation center, saying the initiative will provide additional revenue for the water board. Hassan Piri, MBC News, Mzuzu.
You're watching MBC News and you're with me, Patso Tebulo. My sign language interpreter tonight is Linley Mponda. A reminder of our top stories. Malawi calls for strengthened SADC regional collaboration to build networks that push for women's participation in political leadership across the borders. Government secures 99 billion kwacha to improve water service delivery in Mzuzu City. And an Indian firm, JBR Technologies Limited, expresses interest to establish a biomass power plant at Mtaya Dam site in Area 38 in Lilongwe City to generate electricity from waste.
UNICAF University was actually the best choice for me and the best fit.
You can be the next success story. Enroll in a NGEA-accredited bachelor's program for only 145,000 Malawi kwacha per month to study online or on campus. Gain a world-class education right here in Malawi. For more information, call us on 0993 907 002 to secure your offer today.
An accident doesn't just damage a car. It brings hospital bills, repairs, and pressure no one prepares for.
Transport, tent, hospital, timangajana.
But what if one motor policy handled it all? Medical costs covered. Funeral support covered.
Motor insurance.
Auto 360.
Auto 360 from UGI in partnership with Old Mutual. One motor policy, no separate covers, no extra premium. Molina Fe. If not, now is the time. Just talk to UGI on 0999 299 180 or visit www.ugi.mw. Terms and conditions apply.
Government has pledged to invest more resources in infrastructure development in military units across the country to improve the welfare of officers. Minister of Defense Feston Gaupa made the remarks in Mangochi during the official handover of rehabilitated water reticulation system for the Malawi Defense Force Maritime Unit in Monkebe. The water reticulation system, which has been rehabilitated by the Southern Region Water Board to the tune of 980 million kwacha, is expected to improve operational performance of the system due to reduced leakages, improved pressure, and enhanced accountability in water usage. Owen Mavula reports.
The Southern Region Water Board undertook the water reticulation system project in response to the request by the Maritime Unit in Monkey Bay, which had long-standing challenges in the water supply. Key components of the project include rehabilitation of approximately 5 kilometers of critical pipe mains to restore system integrity and improve water flow, replacement and upgrading of house connection pipes to enhance service delivery at the consumer level, and connection of 104 individual MDF staff houses to prepared meters. Speaking during the handover of the co-project, Minister of Defense Dr. Feston Gaupa expressed satisfaction with the water system upgrade and described the investment as a big milestone in enhancing efficiency and operational readiness.
Provision of quality water, again, doesn't have to be overemphasized. As a matter of fact, whilst I'm here at the Malawi Navy, I'm coming from the Malawi Air Force in Zomba. I've been to Kobe Barracks in Zomba and Changami Barracks in Zomba. They had also expressed these as being their challenges. So having visited these cantonments or establishments of the Malawi Defense Force and coming here witnessing that the Southern Region Order Board has completed this 12-month project within time is a testimony of the skillship or expertise that we have in the Southern Region Order Board, and as well as the appreciation that we need to be very, very ready in terms of provision of services to the Malawi Defense Force officers and men and women.
In his remarks, Board Chairperson for the Southern Region Water Board, Engineer Hutch Mtinda said non-revenue water remains one of the biggest challenges facing water utilities across the region, and through initiatives such as the project, Southern Region Water Board is demonstrating its commitment to reversing the trend by combining infrastructure rehabilitation with modern technologies.
I would think that other institutions, government institutions, not just the army, can borrow a leaf from this approach. Because at the end of the day, it saves money, it improves accountability in the way we deal with our bills, and so on. And at least reliability at the same time. So you have water almost all the time because it's not leaking and the pressure is high and everybody is paying prepaid. So no challenges of chasing each other in terms of payments and things like that.
Similar projects have been carried out at Jangalume and Kobe Barracks, respectively. Owen Mavula, MBC, Mangochi.
And on a sad note, 17 Malawians have died in a bus accident in Zimbabwe, while several others have been injured, according to a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The bus was carrying about 60 passengers and 3 crew members and was en route to Malawi when it overturned between Kotwa town and the Nyamapanda border post. The injured are receiving treatment at Motoko District Hospital, Kotwa District Hospital and Parenyatwa Hospital, with some reported to be in critical condition. Officials from the Malawi Embassy in Zimbabwe are working with Zimbabwean authorities to assist survivors and facilitate the repatriation of the bodies of the deceased. Now, on that note, we've come to the end of our news this evening. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. Malawi calls for strengthened SADC regional collaboration to build networks that push for women's participation in political leadership across the borders. Government secures 99 billion kwacha to improve water service delivery in Mzuzu City. And an Indian firm, JBR Technologies Limited, expresses interest to establish a biomass power plant at Mdaya Dam site in Area 38 in Lilongwe City to generate electricity from waste.
A modern ambition pace. There is no margin for error. So much here is familiar.
Over 1900 games brought us here.
There is not a sporting heat